Ja, ich stehe mit Jim, er ist Master Luthier vor Gibson USA und das ist natürlich super geil, weil er uns jetzt mal durch die ganzen neuen Gitarren führt. So, do you speak German?
Nein. Nein.
So you didn't understand the word, okay. So you show us all the new stuff here for NAMM.
Sure, absolutely. Starting with the SGs, we have the Derek Trucks SG. We've had that in the line for the past few years. Derek's an awesome guitar player, as many know, and he had an interesting take on the SG. He had what we call the faux lyre tailpiece. The lyre is the engraving on the vibrato, and he had one that he took the spring assembly off, and then he had the stop bar tailpiece installed. So we created a lyre tailpiece without the spring specifically for his model, so it has that same look that his had. And another benefit is that because it adds weight to the body, it kind of imparts a certain feel and balance to the guitar. So that's a very cool feature. Other than that, no pick guard and vintage style appointment. So it's very closely based on the early 60s historic SGs. We have the ABR bridge, Tunematic bridge, and classic SG appointments otherwise. So that's the Derek Trucks model. The SG Standard and the SG Special are the current SG models in the line for this year. They share some common features, such as the new GForce automated tuning system. This is the latest evolution in our automated tuning system. We rebranded it and renamed it GForce for this year because it was so radically different. Physically, it's very similar. Some of the gears were improved for this year internally, but basically the same physical layout. The weight is slightly less than your average set of die-cast tuners, so it's not going to affect your balance or resonance of the guitar. It's not invasive. It doesn't require any invasive drilling or routing. The whole assembly just slides onto the back of the peg head and is held on by the tuner nuts on the face. The tuners also have locking features, so it locks the strings down, as well as a 40-to-1 gear ratio. You can still use them as standard tuners. If you listen, you can hear the motor, but they're still a 40-to-1 precision tuner. So if your lithium rechargeable ion battery runs out, you can still fall back on manually retuning. You can get between 80 and 100 tunings if you're going between alternate tunings working at the hardest. And if you're just simply refreshing tunings, in between songs, then you can get upwards of 200 or better. So to tune it, you just press the button, strum it.
Running the guitar.
You give it a strum, and then you wait for the strings. In this case, the high E looks like it may need to be plucked again. So I'll hit it again, and once it reads that string, there it is, the entire system, and it automatically shuts off. So there we just refresh the tuning. We doubled the supplied tunings for this year, so now we supply, 24 supplied tunings from standard and 23 other alternate tunings, such as Open E, Open D, Open G, Drop D, various tunings like that. And then you can create and save 12 of your own tunings. So other features include offsets, such as you have a global offset. If you're in a situation with maybe a rented piano and it's not exactly centered on A440, you can reference that tuning and then save it as a global offset, and now all your alternate tunings are going to shift down to that same tuning.
That's cool.
So that's a very handy benefit. Another feature is that, say you're a particular player that's a very heavy-handed player, a lot of the players like heavy-handed will intentionally tune their low E specifically down just a little flat, so when they hit it hard, it'll swell up into pitch. So you can create and save that, so you can preset the touch and the hit of your playing style and save it into the tuning. So, and there's many, many more features. You can see it online. We have our operator's guide that goes into extensive detail. But the bottom line is it's faster, more accurate, and easy. That's the whole point. Play, tune, and strum. In addition to the GForce system, we also have our newly designed zero fret adjustable nut. We started this out initially for a prototype we made for Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath a number of years ago, and then we did some refinements to it and offered it on the model line this year. We have a brass base that's installed in the neck in manufacturing, and it's sanded flush just like a conventional neck. And then we have this top insert that is inserted in final assembly. It has 2 hex adjustment screws, so now you can fine-tune your action at the nut extremely low or extremely high. So if you want to play slide, you can simply adjust it, raise it up, and if you want to get your guitar to play as smooth and effortless as possible, keep that nut down low so the string doesn't bend when you're playing in the open fret positions. Your chords will play in tune better because the string isn't being pulled out of pitch, and it's just a lot more effortless. So it's a great feature. The user can do it themselves with the supplied wrench, and lastly, it also has the benefit of being cryogenically treated brass. There's a greater tonal similarity between the open notes and the fretted notes.
Yeah, sure.
So that's another great feature.
And you have the wider neck, is it?
Yeah, the neck is wider. We increased the width. I'm forget in millimeters.
43 millimeters.
Okay, and then we basically increased it 50 thousandths per side, and we put a gentle roll on the side, so it's not so drastic feeling. But the bottom line is we're giving you more playable fret surface on the end of the fingerboard. We kept the string spacing the same, so your muscle memory for your chords doesn't change, but you have more usable, for pull-offs and vibratoing techniques. You just have more surface area. Next, we have genuine shell inlay on all our USA core models this year. So all Gibson USA products, whether they're dot or trapezoid inlays, will have genuine mother-of-pearl inlays. So that's very cool, especially on the trapezoids. As we were talking about it, we realized this is the first year we actually use genuine mother-of-pearl for the trapezoid inlays. We've used them for our block inlays, but this is the first time for the trapezoid, so that's very cool. So that's pretty much it. Lastly, on the SG standard, we're using titanium bridge saddles, so that imparts a better harmonic content, better harmonics, and greater sustain, and longer lasting saddles, and greater tonal variety because you have increased tonal variety in the tone. We also have a 2.5 millimeter adjustment screw. We broached the post of the height adjustment screw, so you can still use the thumb wheel if you want, or you can use that 2.5 millimeter hex wrench that we also supply, which just makes things easier. Yeah. So that's another great feature.
Okay, so we have a special here?
Yeah, the SG Special shares a lot of the features of our classic SG, but instead of using the spacer at the end of the fingerboard, we extended the fretboard with 2 extra frets. So now it's a full 22 fret, or 24 fret. 24 fret fingerboard, 2 octave. So, and that also increases the strength at the neck joint because now you have more fingerboard extending over that neck joint surface. So the pickup spacing is still the same as on our classic model. You just have those extra frets, so it's a great benefit there. We also have satin nickel hardware. We just wanted to give it a fresh new appearance, and satin nickel was a nice choice. Other than that, they still share the same classic CTS pots, Switchcraft switches, and Switchcraft jacks. So it's just rock solid, high performance SG.
Cool. The Firebird? 215?
Firebird. For 2015, the only real major change there is the wider neck and the 0 fret adjustable nut. Otherwise, it's the classic Firebird appointments, and last year we moved the jack to the rim of the guitar instead of the face, and we're using a panel jack there, so it's a little more rugged and durable. Yeah. Starting at the top of the line, we have the Les Paul Supreme. Last year, we added some major changes by using the mini humbucker at the neck position and then adding the bound F-holes. And then this year, we incorporated some new features like the metal skirted knobs with the mother-of-pearl inserts to match the genuine mother-of-pearl crown inlays. And then we also added the adjustable 0 fret nut. On this model, we're not using the GForce because the peg head is a physically larger size, and so it wouldn't accommodate that. So we kept the locking Grover tulip tuners, and then we also have the 2.5 millimeter hex adjustment on the bridge. Otherwise, it's fully chambered. It features a 4A figured maple top on the front and a 3A figured maple top on the back, mahogany core for the body, and then a mahogany neck.
The color here, right?
Yeah, that would be our classic Heritage Cherry Sunburst. So you can see there the 4A top and the 3A back. It's just a stunning guitar, mahogany neck. So it's what I like to call an heirloom guitar. It's just one of those priceless styled guitars. But we've had a lot of players who are more of the jazz style. So that's why we went with the mini humbucker and the 492 humbucking in the bridge position. So it gives it 3 really distinctive sounds because of the 2 different pickups. So it's a very functional and versatile guitar. Next, we have the Les Paul Premium top. So it's the Les Paul standard features, but with a premium quilted maple top. We also have abalone inlays in the metal skirted knobs and in the trapezoid fingerboard inlays. So abalone is a real nice upgrade for the Les Paul standard line. We have the titanium bridge saddles, hex adjustment on the bridge, and then a new feature for this year, starting with the Les Paul standard line, is the removable pick guard. So it plugs in the side, it's almost like a little cable. So now the player has his choice for the aesthetic. If you want a pick guard, a lot of people think, oh, you have such a beautifully figured top, I want to see that, I don't want to look at a pick guard. And then some players think, well, it's a classic Les Paul, it needs a pick guard, because that's how the historic ones were.
Sure, yeah.
And then other players say, well, I like the feel of it, because back in the day, Gibson called it a finger rest. Right? So people, and myself included, after I was playing one of my Les Pauls that didn't have a pick guard, I realized how much I use the pick guard as a finger rest. So it has those benefits, whether you want the aesthetic of or without the pick guard or the feel of the finger rest, it's a great feature.
But you still have a screw in it here.
We still have a screw, and the reason we did that, because we have a rubber bumper on the bottom here with felt on it, so that keeps it from moving. So it's very solid on the face of the guitar, again, for the finger rest aspect of it. So that's a cool feature. The Les Paul Standard still has the 4A figured maple top, we have our standard finishes like our Heritage Cherry Sunburst and Amber, Vintage Sunburst, and Wine Red. I don't know if you can see this in the lighting here, but we have new candy finishes. So we have like a pearlescent candy that adds this iridescence and reflectivity to our classic colors. So when stage lights hit it, it just really makes it pop. And you can still see, if you look at the side or the back, you can still see the wood grain, but it has that pearlescent iridescence going on. So it's still very natural, it's still very historic, but very fresh looking. So that's a nice take on some of our traditional colors. Otherwise, we still have the same electronic features as the past few years with the 4 push-pulls for coil taps, phase, and pure bypass, as well as nickel hardware and chrome hardware and titanium bridge saddles. From the Les Paul Standards, we go to Les Paul Traditionals. The Les Paul Traditionals have no weight relieving at all. We go to nickel hardware. We chose to differentiate the different levels of guitar by the hardware plating. And when you plate a metal piece like this, they start out with copper, and then they're nickel plated, and then they're chrome plated. So on our top of the line, of course, the Supreme has gold, but the Les Paul Standards will have chrome, and then it goes to nickel, and then satin nickel. So those are the 4 levels of the hardware differentiation. Also, the bright chrome and bright nickel will have the titanium bridge saddle, so that's another great benefit. Again, no weight relieving. We have the ocean blue finish on this particular model, which is a very popular color that we first used last year, and we had a lot of input to keep it in the line, so we did. So it's like the name implies, our traditional model, but with a few new features like the removable pick guard, the 0 fret adjustable nut, and the GForce tuners. Next, we have our Les Paul Deluxe line. The Les Paul Deluxe, like all our historic Deluxes, feature mini humbucking pickups, but these are new. These were originally designed, I designed these with Skunk Baxter last year on a model we did for him. So They're basically mini humbuckings, but instead of making the poles adjustable, I used 2 blades with an Alnico magnet. So the result was our highest output mini humbucking, and it's not like a distortion pickup, it just has a higher output. So it's even a bit higher than our 57 Classic full-size humbucker.
It stays clear.
But it stays clear. It has a narrower aperture, so because of that, it still has a mini humbucking kind of tone, and then they're coil splittable. So when you coil split them, it drops the volume back to where a traditional mini humbucking would be, and it's even more chimey. So there's a lot of tonal variety in this model. And then we also have the Pure Boost Clean Boost preamp, which is engaged by the mini trim pot, or the mini toggle switch on the face of the guitar, and it can be adjusted up to 15 dB of boost via a trim pot on the inside of the guitar. It runs off of a single 9-volt battery, has a very long battery life, and it's suitable not only for a lead boost, but for tonal shaping. And on this model in particular, we've had a lot of players remark how you can split the pickups, in any variety, maybe back the volumes down and kick the boost in, and use it as like a tonal shaping device. So that was very cool to hear players report that back to us. So that's very nice. That's basically it on the Deluxe. We have the Classic, the Les Paul Classic line we debuted last year. This year we've upgraded it with the titanium bridge saddles, nickel hardware. Still has the Pure Boost as the Deluxe has, with the mini toggle switch, adjustable up to 15. We can coil split the pickups. There are 57 Classic in the neck and a Super 57 in the bridge position. Open zebra coil for a historic look. It features the traditional weight relief, rosewood fingerboard, and the genuine mother of pearl trapezoid inlays. Next we have the Les Plus. The Les Plus is kind of the darling of the line this year. It's Les had a saying, Les Paul used to say, less is more. So that's why we called it the Les Plus. So as you can see, it's a thinner profile body. It still has the same top contour as our full-featured Les Pauls, same thickness maple top. We just made the back thinner and then added the scarf in this area to make it more comfortable and ergonomic. Because of the thinness of the body, it also affords, easier access up to the highest frets. And then lighter weight, of course. It's still mahogany neck, mahogany back, and a maple top rosewood fingerboard. So it's the same tonal woods that we use in our Big Brother Les Pauls. It's just a lighter weight, more ergonomic body profile. So a lot of players really like that. It still sounds classic like a regular full-featured Les Paul. It's just a lot easier to wield and a little bit more comfortable like that. We have nickel hardware, titanium bridge saddles on this, 57 Classic and 57 Classic Plus in the bridge position, open. And then we have coil split with the mini toggle. So we have 2 volumes, master tone, and a coil split switch on the face. So that's it for the Les Paul Les Plus. Next, we have our Les Paul Studio. The Les Paul Studio, is based on the Studio that we've had in the past few years. It features the same changes that we have throughout the rest of the model line, with the new GForce, adjustable zero-fret nut, genuine trapezoid shell inlays, and then new for this year is the satin nickel pickup covers and satin nickel hardware. So it kind of gives it a new vibe and a new warmth. Nickel is very classic, and the satin nickel for the bridge and tailpiece is just kind of fresh and new for us. So that's a new take on the Les Paul, and they're all high gloss, a variety of new colors and high gloss finishes for the Les Paul Studio. Next we have the LPM. The LPM we debuted last year. It features a maple neck, which is why we're calling it the LPM. So a maple neck makes it a bit more affordable. Mahogany is more expensive, so we've added a maple neck to it. And some players just kind of like a maple neck. It gives it a certain brightness and stiffness that mahogany doesn't. And it is certainly more affordable. So that was the main reason driving that. It also features the GForce, the wider neck, the genuine shell inlay, and the adjustable zero-fret top nut, as well as our 61 Alnico magnet-loaded humbucking pickups in open zebra coils. So it's our most affordable, full-featured Les Paul. It's a great value. Next, we have the Les Paul Special Double Cutaway. based on the historic model, but we did a few refinements and changes. First off, we've changed the neck joint, so instead of coming straight across here, we've added a little bit more material. It still affords access, to all 22 frets, but it is more rugged and durable than the historic neck joint. If anyone came from a repair background, they'd see how they, can take a tumble off a stand and sometimes fail. So this just makes it more durable. We've also incorporated, which we debuted last year, our P90S pickups. So these have Alnico rod magnet slugs instead of the classic screws and 2 Alnico bar magnets of the historic P90. We actually debuted this in 1946, the same year we debuted the P90 in its original format too. And they used them on the original ES125s, and the intention was to make a pickup more affordable back then, and that's what we did last year when we debuted them in the Les Paul Melody Maker. The cool thing is, now other companies have adopted that same Alnico rod magnet format, so now people are aware of, the tonal results of that. So it's a brighter, more percussive sound, and gives the classic P90 just a new, fresh sound that people aren't accustomed to. So it's a very historic yet fresh new take on the P90, and we like to tell the tale how we did that first. So that's very cool. And then lastly in the line, we have our single cut Les Paul Jr. So this is based on the 50s model, but we did a few refinements. Again, we're using the P90S Alnico rod magnet loaded pickup in a dog ear format, satin nickel hardware with the lightning bolt, so it's compensated and offers a bit more intonation adjustment than the 50s non-compensated tailpiece. We still kept solid mahogany construction for the body, the neck, and solid rosewood fingerboard, genuine mother of pearl dot inlays, and then the neck joint on this, instead of having the ledge like the historic 50s models, we just sculpted it in more streamlined here, so you have easier access. So it's an incredible value for our entry-level Les Paul model in the line.
Okay, that was a big ride, huh? many new models.
Yeah, was that okay with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy the show, Oliver. All right.